Hey guys, Loves to Loom here. Today we're going to be making this super cute Evelyn bracelet. This is another design created by Garamanic_cosplays on Instagram. If you want to see her previous designs that I've done tutorials for, I'll have that linked in a playlist down below. But I think this design here is so super cute, very fun, pretty unique, and I do love the looping steps. For today, you need about 147 plus about 30 or so extension bands. Their breakdown is 30 of the tan, 42 of the turquoise, 30 of the black, and 45 of the white. You need your hook and C-clip, and I'll show you the loom setup. So to make this bracelet, you will need to have at least 5 bars, and you're going to set them up staggered like I have mine. If you don't want to have to use an extension at the end, then you're going to set another 5 up right in front of this one. I'm just going to make a small piece, but again, you will need to make an extension at the end if you do that. We're going to start by choosing the tan here on the side. We're going to start by laying a loose one in the center for closing, and then we're going to go to the left 2 times diagonally, and then we'll go to the right 2 times as well. From here, we're going to be laying it going straight down both sides. If you're doing one loom length like me, you're going to lay 10 straight ones. So this one will count as number 1. You'll lay 10 of them and then bring it in towards the center. If you're going to make a full length one and you need to follow my instructions exactly, you're going to lay 22 straight ones. You're going to see that you would technically be able to lay more, but lay 22 if you need to follow my instructions to the T. So I've just laid 10 of them going straight. And now I'm going to go diagonal into the center 2 times, like so. So you're going to do that exact same thing on the left side, and then I'll meet you guys back here. All right, so this is what mine looks like. So both sides are complete. We're going to come back to the beginning again. And now we're going to lay the bands that are turquoise on here. So I'm going to use that same color combination. I'm going to do the right side first. So we're going to start by laying this going straight, and then from there we're going to go diagonal out to the right. We're going to go diagonal out to the right again, but this one's going to go more upwards, and then we're going to go straight again. We're going to repeat that. So we're going to go straight, diagonal out to the right. We do that twice, like that, and then straight. And we keep repeating that same pattern. Straight, diagonal out, straight. We would do that until we cannot go any further down the loom. Looks like little K's to me. You will have one last band that you need to lay going straight once you get to the end. So go ahead and do that same exact thing to the left side, and then I'll meet you guys back here. So once you're all caught up, it should look like this. And I do recommend pushing these down now so you have room for the next layer. But now we're going to choose the bands that sit in the center, which on this one I used black, and I'm going to use that again today. But it looks like this on this one, in case you can't see that one very well. We're basically going to be laying a bunch of X's. So on this second pin in from the left, we're going to go diagonal into the center, and then we'll do the same from the right. And then from the center, we're going to go out to the upper left and upper right, creating that X. We're going to come up to the very next pins, and we're going to do the same thing. Diagonal in from the left and the right, and then we'll go diagonal out like so. Come up to the very next open peg, and we'll start that again. That one's stretched out. I'm going to grab a new one. So you're going to lay these X's as far down the loom as you can go. And then I'll tell you what we're going to do next. So I have all my X's filled out. And before we go any further, we're going to go ahead and add triple cap bands to the center of each of these X's. So I use the same exact color. Now, Gabby did use quadruple cap bands for some of hers, but she said triple cap bands work great as well. So I tested both triple cap band and the quadruple cap band, and to me, they looked exactly the same. So I'm going to go with the easier one and just do a triple cap band. I think I messed that up, so I'm going to grab my hook and do that. I'm using premium bands, and they're a lot tighter, so it's kind of hard to wrap it 3 times without the help of my hook. So I wrapped it 3 times. That's what a triple cap band is, in case you were not aware. But the center of each one of these X's is going to get this triple cap band or the quadruple cap band, whichever one you're using. And then we will move on and do the next step. So go ahead and get yours done, and I'll meet you back here. So if you need to hit the pause button and catch up, go ahead and do that. But we're going to come back to the beginning, and we're going to start laying some of the white bands. At least that's what I'm using. We're going to be laying these bands specifically here and here on the sides. So first we're going to start by laying it going diagonal inwards on the corner pin. Do that on both sides. And now we're going to be doing that on the side of each one of the X's that's in the middle. So come up to the 3rd pin. It doesn't matter which side you start on, but we are going to lay a diagonal downwards band first, and then from that pin we'll go upwards. Do the same on the left. It's going to make like a sideways V, and you can see how it sits on the side of where the X is. We're going to do that next to each one of the X's. So this is where we finished off our last one. We're going to skip the next pin, come up to the one above, and that's where our next one will start. So diagonal band going outwards and inwards like so. And I'll repeat on the left. Like I said, it should be sitting right next to your X bands. When you get to the last row, there is only enough room to lay 1 diagonal band like that. So there will not be another one going inwards. So now that we have that part done, we're going to come back to the beginning, and we're going to lay the rest of the white bands that I'm using, which sit on the inside here. I'm going to use all white, but you can switch this color if you want. So we're going to be coming up to the empty parts in the middle. You can see I have the black X here, but then we have that space. We're going to be laying the same shape of that black X band, but we're going to lay it here this time to fill in the empty spaces. So right here is where I'm going to start. I'll go diagonal left, diagonal right, and then we'll go diagonal left and diagonal right again. So you can see it creates that little X there in the middle. So I'm going to come up to the next empty space, and I'll lay an X again. Like so. And now we'll repeat. And we will do this all the way up the loom. So it will look like this in the end. It looks like a bunch of big zigzags. So you will want to push these down. Specifically start with just pushing down the middle whites that we just laid, because once again we have to add triple cap bands, and the same rule applies here. If you want to do quadruple cap bands, you can, but I'm just going to do triple caps because these bands are tight. But if you find that your bands are really loose, you may want to do a quadruple cap band. So we're just going to be putting caps on the center of all the whites, or whatever color band you just laid now, because we already have the black ones capped. So I'm going to cap these with a triple cap band, and then I will meet you guys back here when I'm done. Alright, so I have all my cap bands done. So just to reiterate, all the centers of the whites have my cap bands on them. And now we're going to turn our loom around facing us. You're going to want to grab one more of the first color that we laid. For me, is my tan. It's right here. And we're going to lay a regular cap band on the front. So just wrap it twice. And now we are ready to start the looping. So the first bands that we're going to be looping are the last bands that we laid. So that's going to be the white for me. We're going to be looping out of the center of the cap bands that we laid. So I'll locate the center of my white cap band right here. We're going to go in and we're just going to loop these bands downwards. So I'll grab the first one, loop it down, go into that pin and loop that down. Come back to the center and we'll loop this one down to the right. These are all just getting looped back to themselves. So we did the bottom half, now we need to do the top half. So we'll go back into that same center and loop these ones going upwards. So the first one should be going diagonal to the left if you laid them in the same order as me. And now I'll do the right half. Like so. Now we're going to come up to the center of the next one. So you'll skip this one, come up to the next, and we're going to loop that out the same way. Go into your cap band and loop these down. Repeat on the right. Go back in the center and loop these ones up. We have to repeat this for all of the white bands. It's all of the top layer in case you did not use white. So I have 2 sections done. We have a couple more to do, so keep looping them out from the center, and then I will meet you guys back here. So I will be a little bit ahead of you. Hit the pause button if you need to. I have all of my whites looped out now. And now we're going to do the same thing from the centers of the blacks. So we're just going to come back down here to the beginning and find the first black X, go into the cap band, and you're just going to loop all 4 of the bands back to themselves. Like so. I'm going to come up to the next one and loop my X out, and we will repeat this until all of our X's are looped out. Alright, so I did jump ahead. I have all my X's looped out. So we're going to come back to the beginning because we have to do some flipping now. So we're going to come to the second row. You're going to basically be locating where the X band is looped out right here, and it crosses path with the white bands. So on the second bar in, we're grabbing the back part of that white band, and there is 2 bands there, and you're pulling it towards yourself and flipping it over the pin like that. You're going to do the same on the left one. So the second bar in, second pin up, flipping that white chain over your black X. We're going to come up to the very next pin, and we're going to do the same thing. This is just in the opposite direction. So we need to grab this side of the band. Again, it is 2 bands on there. You're going to flip the entire chain over and sit it behind the pin and do that on both. So that was the bottom of the X that we did that to. Now we're going to come up and do that to the top part of the same X. So right here, flip it forward, flip it forward. Come up to the next one. The bottom part of the X bands that cross with the white get flipped up. And then the top of the X bands with the white get flipped down. We have to do that to every section. Alrighty, so once they're all flipped, this is what it should look like. So we're going to come back to the beginning, and we're going to come into this cap band down here, and we're going to start looping out the tan, which is what I call the border. We're going to loop the first one out to the right, and then out to the left. Now we're going to move on to looping the turquoise bands. So we're going to just do the right side first. We're going to reach in here, and you have to push the top layers out of the way and grab the third band, which will be my turquoise band. We're just going to loop that forward. Then you have to reach down into that pin, and we're going to loop that turquoise forward again. There's a lot in there that you have to push. The turquoise is the last band that's in there. Loop that up. And now we're going to loop these turquoise back to themselves. So once you reach in here, you're just going to grab that, diagonal band that's looping downwards like that. The next one will go outwards. And then we will go to loop it straight again. We need to do that going all the way up. So you're just following the same pattern as you laid them. So you're going up. The next one goes diagonal down, diagonal out, and straight. So I have all of my right side looped out now. Go ahead and do the same thing to the left side, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. So hit the pause button until you're caught up with me. We're going to stay at the top of our loom, and now we're going to start doing another step where we have to flip some bands over. We're going to do the left side first. On the top pins, we're grabbing the white band, which is the second and third band on this top one. So the easiest way, in my opinion, to grab these two bands is there's a little space right here. It will automatically grab both of the bands that you need to grab and just flip it over and release like that. We're going to come down, you skip this peg, come down to the next one, and you can see we have a lot of bands on there. These are the two that I need to grab. You can see them very clearly at the top. But if you need to count, it is the second and fifth band down. So I like to grab it here, but if for some reason you want to grab it from in here, you would have to come in and grab the second and flip it, and then come back and grab the fifth and flip it. But I assure you it's much easier to just push your hook through this little opening. It automatically grabs the second and fifth band. You're just going to flip it and it catches right on there. We have to do that to every other pin. So we're going to skip this one, come down right here. I'm going to push my hook through, grab a hold of those two whites, flip and release. We do not do that on the last pin. It will unravel. There's nothing to flip it onto. So we're going to go ahead and do the same on the right side. I work down the left side and up the right. So we're doing the same exact thing. I'm just going to come up to this pin here because we don't have anything to flip it there. I like to just push my hook through that little opening and flip. So repeat the same process. So now we can come to the beginning and we're going to start looping the border. So for the border, I'm going to do the left side first, or at least on camera. So we're going to go right here where it left off, and we're going to loop the tan back to itself. We're going to go in there, grab the border again. You're grabbing the very, very bottom band. So you got to get through all of the top layers, grab the bottom, and loop it up. We're going to do that again. And once you get to the pin that has two colors, you can see that this had one color. This one has the turquoise and the white, and as you can see, that's where we flipped our previous whites. Well, now we need to flip the remaining white now that we looped up the border. So it's these two bands right here. If you need to count, it is the third and fourth band right here. So this time you can easily grab them if you want to flip it that way. After you flip them, you're going to go in and loop up the border. You're going to loop up the border again. And you're going to flip your whites. So again, it is the third and fourth band down that you're grabbing. Flip and release. We're going to alternate between looping the border up 2 times and flipping our whites. When you get to the top corner, there's nothing else to flip. And now we're just going to continue looping the border up to the center. Like so. So once you have both sides complete, we're going to locate that loose band from the beginning. And we're going to reach down in and bring both ends together. You can either temporarily slide it down your hook or C-clip it. I'm actually going to use an easy clip. But this is where you're going to add an extension once you take this off. If you don't know how to do so, I will link a video up in the eye above here, and you can go ahead and watch it. So when I take it off of the loom, I like to give it a stretch, and you can leave it just like that. But if you don't want the center being so puffed out, you can grab the side of each side of your bracelet and just pull outwards, and that helps tighten up the inner bands so they're not so puffed out. It's up to you which look that you like though. But that is how you create the Evelyn bracelet, created by Garamanic_cosplays. Please let us know what you think of this design down below. And if this video was helpful, please hit the thumbs up button as well. But that will be it for today, you guys. I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.